What if Elon Musk's secret plan is actually changing Australia right under your nose? Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But while you're sipping your coffee in Bondi or driving through Brisbane, Musk is quietly pulling strings in our economy. Did you know that his company, Starlink, is already connecting over 100,000 Australians in remote areas, from Alice Springs to Tasmania? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Today, I'm going to show you how Musk's ideas, from satellites to electric cars, are directly impacting the ASX, your superannuation, and even your electricity bill. After years of studying markets, I know 2025 is a critical year. With the RBA holding interest rates at 4.35%, those who take action now could ride this wave. In this video, you'll uncover 3 practical strategies to take advantage of these changes and build real wealth, whether you're in Sydney, Perth, or any corner of Australia. This isn't about becoming as rich as Musk. It's about making your money work harder for you. Ready to uncover this plan and transform your financial future? Let's dive in together. Let's paint the picture. Australia, 2025. You're in Melbourne, sipping a flat white, and the bill hits harder than expected. Or maybe you're in Perth, staring at your rent and thinking, how did prices climb this much? The cost of living is squeezing tighter, isn't it? In Sydney, the median home now costs $1.5 million. In Brisbane, property prices jumped 10% in just the last year. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of Australia is holding interest rates at 4.35%, making loans more expensive and investments riskier. Who hasn't opened the CommBank app and asked, is my money really growing enough? It's normal to feel that pressure. After all, 60% of Australians say their biggest financial fear is not having enough for retirement. And they're not wrong. The average superannuation balance at age 50 is only $200,000. That doesn't even cover a decade of living in cairns. Now enters a name that's been all over the headlines, Elon Musk. You've heard of him, of course, the guy behind electric cars, rockets, and tweets that shake up the market. But what does he have to do with Australia? More than you think. Let's start with Starlink. In 2025, over 100,000 Australians, from farmers in Dubbo to families in Broome, are connected to the internet through Musk's satellite network. That's transforming how regional areas do business, trade stocks on the ASX, and even work remotely. Sounds great, right? But there's a catch. That same connectivity is attracting big tech into rural towns, and land prices in places like Orange and Toowoomba have already risen by 15%. Those who didn't invest early are being left behind. And it doesn't stop there. Tesla, another Musk company, is flooding Australian streets. In 2024 alone, electric vehicle sales surged by 20%, with Tesla leading the charge in cities like Canberra and Adelaide. This is putting pressure on lithium mining companies on the ASX, like Pilbara Minerals, whose shares are up 12% this year. At the same time, energy bills are dropping for households using Tesla batteries, but only for those who can afford the upfront cost. See the pattern? Musk's ideas are creating incredible opportunities, but also new gaps. While some Aussies profit from renewable energy stocks, others are left wondering, how do I get in on this without draining my savings? And there's more. Rumors in the market say Musk has his eyes on artificial intelligence, and Australia, with its data hubs and tech talent, is on the radar. Posts on X suggest companies like Atlassian and Afterpay are moving fast to stay competitive. But that also means more volatility on the ASX 200, which already swung 5% in the last quarter alone. For anyone with money in superannuation, that's a red flag. 70% of default funds are underperforming the index, and fees are eating away thousands of dollars each year. It's like watching the Melbourne Cup, knowing your horse is racing with extra weight. So what's the issue? Musk's moves are reshaping Australia, from internet in the outback to EVs on Sydney roads, yet most of us are just watching it happen. The cost of living keeps rising, superannuation drags, and opportunities are flying by like a SpaceX rocket. Worse yet, If you're waiting for the perfect moment to invest or plan ahead, you might wake up in 2030 asking, why didn't I act sooner? The good news: it doesn't have to be that way. You can flip the script, and it's easier than it looks, even if you're not a genius like Musk. So, how do you get in on this game and make Elon Musk's moves work in your favor? You don't need to be a billionaire or a tech genius. The truth is, in 2025, Australia is bursting with opportunities, but you need to act smart. Let's break it down with 3 practical strategies that anyone, from Canberra to the Gold Coast, can use to build wealth, protect their superannuation, and ride the Musk wave. Ready? Let's get straight to the point. Strategy 1. Supercharge your superannuation to capture the future. The problem? Most Australians leave their super on autopilot. Do you know how much that costs? A default fund with a 1% fee can eat up $50,000 from your balance over 20 years. And with the ASX 200 climbing 10% in 2025, leaving your money in low-growth options is like watching the AFL Grand Final from the nosebleeds. You're there, but not really in the game. The solution? Choose funds aligned with hot sectors like renewable energy and tech, the very ones Musk is fueling. For example, ETFs like EARTH, which focuses on green companies, have delivered 8% annual returns over the past decade, compared to 5% from average super funds. Sounds complicated? It's not. Log into your super account, whether it's Rest, Australian Super, or another, and check for growth or tech options. A real-world example: if you've got $100,000 in super and switch to a fund that earns just 2% more per year in 30 years, you could have an extra $180,000. That's like buying a unit in Adelaide without pulling a single dollar from your pocket today. But there's a catch: fees. Some funds charge up to 1.5%, while others, like Vanguard, sit at just 0.3%. That difference? It could cost you $20,000 less at retirement. Here's a challenge. This week, spend 10 minutes on your super's website and check your fees. Write down how much you're paying. It might surprise you. And if you can, make voluntary contributions. Just $200 a month, compounded at 7%, grows into $150,000 in 25 years. That's your ticket to enjoy cairns without financial stress. Strategy 2. Invest in the ASX to profit from Musk's moves. The market is reacting to him, and you can too. Let's talk about the obvious. Tesla is dominating EVs, and that's driving up demand for lithium. Miners like Pilbara Minerals and Liontown Resources, both listed on the ASX, are up 12% in 2024 alone. But betting on a single stock is risky. It's like putting all your money on one horse in the Melbourne Cup. The safer play? ETFs. An ETF, like A200, gives you exposure to 200 companies, including BHP and Wesfarmers, both benefiting from the clean energy boom. In 2025, A200 is returning 7% compared to 4% from a fixed deposit at Combank. Need numbers? If you invest $1,000 a month into A200 with an average return of 7%, in 20 years, you'll have $500,000. That buys a house in Hobart or a motorhome to cruise the Great Ocean Road. Not sure where to start? Open an account on platforms like ComSec or Stake. It takes 15 minutes. And you don't need millions. Start with $500. The secret is consistency. Invest every month, even if it's a small amount. Did you know that 80% of Australians who invest regularly in the ASX double their net worth in 10 years? Meanwhile, people who leave money in savings are losing out to inflation, which is sitting at 3%. So let me ask you, what horse are you betting on? One tip: diversify. Besides ETFs, look into sectors Musk is influencing, like tech. Companies like Afterpay are thriving in the digital revolution, and an ETF like NDQ, which includes global tech giants, has climbed 9% this year. Strategy 3. Tap into tech trends, with caution. Musk is synonymous with innovation, and 2 areas are booming in Australia: connectivity and energy. First, Starlink. It's bringing high-speed internet to the outback, opening doors for regional businesses. Want to profit from this? Look at companies growing with connectivity, like Telstra, which rose 5% after 5G partnerships. Or if you're entrepreneurial, why not start an online business in Toowoomba using Starlink to sell to Sydney? Here's a real example. A cafe in Dubbo used Starlink to take online orders and doubled its revenue. Not a stock, but real money in the pocket. Now let's talk energy. Tesla's batteries are changing the game. In 2025, 30,000 Aussie homes are using Powerwalls, slashing their power bills by 40%. It's not cheap, around $15,000 to install. But if you've got the cash, it pays off in under a decade. Can't buy one? Then invest in clean energy companies. An ETF like CLNE, focused on hydrogen and solar, is yielding 6%. And yes, there's crypto. Musk has already shaken up Bitcoin and Dogecoin, but be cautious. Crypto is volatile. If you want to explore it, use Aussie exchanges like CoinSpot and never invest more than 5% of your portfolio. Think of it like a beach barbecue. Fun, but don't throw all your meat on the grill. Let's recap the plan. First, tweak your super into high-return funds like tech or clean energy and slash those fees. Second, invest in the ASX, starting with ETFs like A200 or EARTH to ride the Musk wave without betting everything. Third, explore trends in connectivity and energy, whether through stocks, your own business, or even a home battery. Sounds like a lot? It's not. Start with one step. Today, open your super or brokerage app and take a look. It takes 5 minutes. Did you know Australians who review their super once a year save, on average, $10,000 in fees? That's a trip to Bali, or the first step to your $1 million future. These strategies won't make you the next Elon Musk, but they'll get your money working while you enjoy a barbecue in Bondi or cheer at the AFL. The market's shifting fast, and 2025 is your moment to move. Before we wrap up, quick question. How much are you spending on coffee each week? Pause and calculate. It might just be the money for your next investment. Now that you know how to ride Elon Musk's wave, let's see it in action. Nothing explains it better than real or almost real stories of everyday Australians, from Sydney to Broome, who transformed their finances using simple strategies. Meet 3 people who could be your neighbors, each using one of the tactics we just covered to flip the script. Spoiler, it's not about becoming as rich as Musk. It's about making your money work while you enjoy a barbecue on the beach. First, story, Sophie from Perth, and the superannuation that changed everything. Sophie is a 38-year-old nurse and single mom living in Fremantle. Up until 2 years ago, she didn't think much about her super. That's for when I'm old, she used to say. But in 2023, she checked her Australian super statement, $80,000, a 1% fee, and only 4% returns. That felt small for someone dreaming of retiring in Margaret River. Who hasn't looked at their super and thought, this won't be enough? Sophie decided to take action. She read about the shifts coming in 2025, how the ASX 200 was climbing, 10% and sectors like renewable energy were booming, and switched from her default fund to a sustainable growth option that included the EARTH ETF. The result? In just 2 years, her average return jumped to 7%, and her fees dropped to 0.5%. That added $10,000 to her balance, almost effortlessly. Before, Sophie would spend hours stressing about her future. Now she makes voluntary contributions of $100 a month. What does that mean? By age 65, she could have an extra $300,000. Enough for a little house with an ocean view. And it all started with 20 minutes on her super's website. If you did the same, Sophie from Perth would tell you it's worth every second. Second story, Liam from Brisbane and the ASX as an ally. Liam, 32, is a graphic designer living in West End. He's always wanted to buy an apartment, but with Brisbane prices jumping 10% in 2025, it felt out of reach. 3 years ago, he had $5,000 sitting in a CommBank savings account earning dust at 2%. Then he heard about Tesla's impact on lithium mining and decided to invest. You know that moment when you think, I want in, but what if it goes wrong? Liam felt that too, but he opened a stake account and started with $1,000 in the A200 ETF, which tracks the ASX 200. Why? Because it's diversified. It includes BHP, Woolworths, and even a slice of tech companies like Afterpay. He added $200 each month, even during market swings. The result? In 2025, with A200 averaging 7% annual returns, his initial $5,000 turned into $10,000, and his monthly contributions added another $5,000. Liam now has $15,000, the beginning of a deposit for an apartment in South Brisbane. Before, he spent everything on coffee and nights out. Now, he invests 20% of his income and still enjoys life. The secret? Start small and stay consistent. Did you know Australians like Liam, who invest regularly, are 80% more likely to buy a home before turning 40? If it were you, Liam would say, don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Third story, Priya from Canberra, and a bet on connectivity. Priya, 45, is an accountant and immigrant from India living in Belconnen. When she arrived in Australia 10 years ago, she knew nothing about super or the ASX. But in 2024, she saw posts on X about Starlink connecting regional areas like Wagga Wagga, where her family has friends. That sparked an idea. Musk's internet was opening doors for new businesses. Ever thought how one crazy idea can change your life? Priya decided to become an entrepreneur. Using Starlink, she launched an online consultancy from Canberra, helping small regional businesses with accounting. She invested $2,000 in gear and marketing, and within a year made an extra $50,000. But she didn't stop there. Knowing connectivity was boosting telecom stocks, she put $5,000 into Telstra, which rose 5% in 2025 thanks to 5G partnerships. Today, Priya runs her own business, has a growing investment portfolio, and her super is now aligned with tech-focused funds. Before, the Australian system felt like a maze. Now, she teaches other Indian friends how to invest. What changed? She saw the opportunity Musk brought and acted. If you started a side hustle in Toowoomba or invested in tech stocks, Priya would say, the first step is the hardest, but it's the one that counts. These stories show one thing. It doesn't matter if you're a nurse, a designer, or an immigrant starting from scratch. Musk's moves, from Starlink to Tesla, are creating chances anyone can grab. Sophie adjusted her super and gained peace of mind. Liam invested in the ASX and got closer to buying a home. Priya used connectivity to build a business and invest. They're not geniuses. They're regular Australians like you who decided to act in 2025 while the market was shifting fast. One last question. What if the next story was yours? What's stopping you from taking the first step today? We've come to the end of our journey. And what a ride it's been, right? Building wealth in Australia in 2025 is a lot like surfing in Bondi. You've got to choose the right wave, keep your balance, and not be afraid to paddle out. Today, we uncovered how Elon Musk's so-called secret plan, which isn't really that secret, is reshaping our economy, from satellite internet in Broome to Teslas on the roads of Canberra. More importantly, you learned 3 strategies to make this work for you. First, supercharge your superannuation, cut fees, and aim for hot sectors like renewable energy, potentially adding $180,000 to your retirement. Second, invest in the ASX, using ETFs like A200 to turn $1,000 a month into $500,000 in 20 years. Third, explore trends like Starlink and Tesla batteries, whether through stocks, your own business, or even a side hustle out of Toowoomba. This isn't about becoming a billionaire like Musk. It's about taking smart steps to live with freedom, whether that means road tripping to Cairns or enjoying a stress-free barbecue on the weekend. Think about it. While the ASX 200 is climbing, 10% and the cost of living keeps rising, those who act now are building a future others will only dream about. Remember Sophie, tweaking her super in Perth? Liam, investing in Brisbane? Priya, launching her business in Canberra? They're proof that it doesn't have to be complicated. Picture this. 5 years from now, you're checking your CommBank app and seeing an extra $50,000 in your account. Or you've just bought your first home in Hobart because you started investing early. Maybe you even launched a business powered by Starlink, reaching customers across the Gold Coast. That future is within reach. And it all begins with one small step, like reviewing your super today or opening a CommSec account tomorrow. So tell me, what's stopping you from starting now? It's not about having all the money or knowing everything. It's about deciding your future is worth more than the fear. In 2025, with the RBA holding interest rates at 4.35% and the world changing fast, waiting is the biggest risk of all. If this video made sense to you, smash that like button, share it with a mate who needs to hear this, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video, because next time I'll reveal the ASX sectors that are set to explode in 2026. You won't want to miss that. And before you go, I want to hear from you. What city are you watching from? Sydney? Melbourne? Alice Springs? Drop it in the comments. I love seeing where our community is growing. You're part of a generation that's changing the financial game in Australia. Ride this wave like it's the last one of the day in Bondi, and let's build that future together. See you next time.